Harry and Meghan called her, that their path in America has actually taken a lot of similarities to the Obamas.
Service, it's a bright, sharp, hot spotlight, and most people don't understand it.
Have you ever had that strange gut feeling that something just doesn't add up? That sense that behind the polished photos and perfect interviews, something isn't quite right? That's exactly what royal watchers have been sensing for years when it comes to Meghan Markle's pregnancies. From disappearing baby bumps to inconsistent timelines, the public's questions have grown louder. But today, it's no longer about whispers or rumors. A woman known only as DL has come forward with a claim so shocking it could shake the very foundation of the royal family. According to her, she is the real mother of Archie and Lilibet. Not one, but both children. And now, with evidence and willingness to testify, she's ready to pull back the curtain on a story the palace allegedly hoped would never see the light of day. The surrogacy claim. The biggest shock in this unfolding drama is the emergence of a woman known only as DL, who has stepped forward with a claim that's shaking royal watchers to the core. According to her, she is the biological mother of not just one, but both of Meghan and Harry's children, Archie and Lilibet. Her story, if true, changes everything. DL alleges that she was recruited by a California-based agency under the promise of confidentiality and was instructed to live in total seclusion during both pregnancies. She says her role was to carry the children, while Meghan took on the public-facing appearance of being pregnant. From the outside, the world saw a glowing royal figure embracing motherhood. Behind the scenes, DL claims she was confined to a private, heavily monitored residence near Los Angeles without access to personal communication or the outside world. She describes the experience as highly controlled, with scheduled medical visits, security protocols, and a strict non-disclosure agreement. According to DL, the entire operation was designed to remain invisible. She was told never to speak, never to be seen, and most importantly, never to expect any recognition. Once the children were born, she says, she was dismissed and cut off from any further information. What's even more unsettling is DL's assertion that this arrangement wasn't a one-time occurrence. It happened twice, under nearly identical circumstances. She claims there was no formal thank you, no follow-up, and no acknowledgement. Her only job was to carry the pregnancies in silence while a different story was being presented to the world. Media moments and inconsistencies. As DL's statements make headlines, people are starting to re-examine the way Meghan's pregnancies played out publicly, and the inconsistencies are difficult to ignore. Unlike the traditional approach seen with other royal births, Meghan's experience was extremely private. There were no hospital exit photos, no crowds waiting outside, and no official medical briefings. When Archie's birth was announced, the statement came after the child was reportedly already born, a delay that raised eyebrows even back then. Instead of the customary media appearance outside the hospital, Harry appeared in front of a horse stable, visibly emotional, delivering a brief message that felt carefully rehearsed. Meghan was then seen, a couple of days later, looking remarkably well-rested and physically unchanged. At the time, many assumed she had recovered quickly, but now, with DL's claims, that fast appearance is being questioned from a very different angle. The timeline wasn't the only oddity. Throughout Meghan's public appearances during her pregnancies, viewers noticed frequent and drastic changes in the shape and position of her baby bump. In some photos, she appeared heavily pregnant. In others, just days apart, the bump seemed smaller or had shifted completely. And then there was the widely circulated interview footage where her midsection appeared to crease unnaturally as she sat down, a moment dismissed as a camera trick or wardrobe malfunction, but now regarded as a potential indicator of something more. Adding to the confusion, Meghan once told someone during a royal trip that she was 6 months along, just weeks after previously claiming to be 5. A small detail at the time, but now it contributes to a growing list of unexplained contradictions. While any one of these instances could be overlooked individually, together they paint a pattern that is now under intense scrutiny. What DL revealed. DL's story paints a picture of an operation that was highly secretive and tightly controlled. She claims she was placed in a private, well-guarded residence near Los Angeles, where she lived during both pregnancies. According to her, staff followed strict instructions, Minimal contact, no photos, and no personal questions. Doctors visited regularly, but everything felt clinical, not compassionate. She signed what she describes as intense legal agreements, including non-disclosure clauses that made her afraid to speak up. DL says once the babies were delivered, she wasn't given updates or even allowed to see them again. Her presence was never acknowledged. While she remained hidden, she alleges Meghan was preparing public appearances in advance, complete with pre-planned looks, practiced movements, and coordinated photo ops. DL believes this wasn't just about privacy, it was about shaping a controlled image of motherhood while keeping the real story buried. Legal documents and birth certificates. One of the most suspicious pieces of this puzzle is Archie's birth certificate. Instead of Meghan's full name, the document listed only her royal title, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. At the time, officials said it was just a formatting change. Meghan later blamed the palace, but DL's claims have sparked a new theory that removing her legal name may have been a strategic decision. If she didn't actually give birth, using her full name could have opened the door to legal problems. By sticking to a title, it created distance between Meghan and the document's legal responsibility. Now, people are asking, was this just royal styling or something more calculated? DL says she still has proof, emails, contracts, and delivery records that back up her claims. And if verified, these documents could turn what once looked like a minor edit into a major red flag. Social media fallout. As DL's claims hit the internet, social media erupted. Supporters of Meghan rushed to defend her, calling the story baseless. But something has changed. Even among loyal fans, there's now a strange quiet. Accounts that once defended her without question are suddenly asking for answers. The big question, if these claims are false, why the silence? Meghan is known for addressing rumors and fighting back publicly. She's corrected headlines and taken legal action before. But now, no tweets, no statements, not even a simple denial. That lack of response is fueling more speculation. Viewers are starting to wonder if the silence is a strategy or a sign of panic. The longer the pause, the louder the questions become. Harry's struggle behind the scenes. Behind closed doors, insiders say Prince Harry is under immense pressure. Reports suggest he's been distant, irritable, and overwhelmed by the growing fallout. Some say he's withdrawn from friends, while others claim he's begged Meghan to make a public statement. Allegedly, she refused, believing that addressing the surrogate claim would only give it more attention. But Harry's emotional state is reportedly deteriorating. He's torn between loyalty and damage control, unsure how to protect his family, while the narrative unravels around him. One source shared that Harry thought he was shielding Meghan from criticism. Now it seems he's the one who feels exposed. The DNA twist. In a development no one expected, DL has reportedly agreed to submit to a DNA test. She says she's willing to provide samples and testify if needed. That's a major turning point, because for the first time, it's not just about words, it's about potential biological proof. If the results confirm her story, this won't just be a personal scandal. It could have serious institutional consequences. Meghan and Harry's carefully shaped family image would face a complete collapse. The public wouldn't just demand answers, they'd demand accountability. And with the palace remaining silent, behind-the-scenes advisors are reportedly holding urgent meetings, preparing for a scenario they hoped would never become real. Palace in crisis mode. As the story continues to build, insiders say Buckingham Palace is on high alert. While no official statements have been made, behind the scenes, senior advisors are reportedly holding confidential meetings to assess the risk. The central concern? Succession. If Archie and Lilibet were born through an undisclosed surrogate and the palace was never formally notified, it could impact their eligibility for royal titles and their place in the line of inheritance. Royal historians say this level of uncertainty around royal births is unheard of in modern times. There's even talk of contingency plans being quietly drafted, plans that might include title changes or public distancing if the situation worsens. For the palace, this isn't about public image, it's about upholding the institution's legal framework. Former allies speak out. What's especially telling now is that some of Meghan's former allies are beginning to distance themselves. A stylist who worked on a pregnancy shoot recently hinted in an interview that things weren't always as they seemed. An ex-palace staffer, speaking anonymously, shared that any questions about Meghan's pregnancies were strictly off-limits. It was known internally, ask too much and you'd be removed from the circle. Even fashion commentators who once praised her maternity style are staying silent, unwilling to defend images that are now being reanalyzed frame by frame. What once seemed glamorous is now being viewed with skepticism, and that shift is happening fast. The bigger implications. At the center of all this are two children, Archie and Lilibet, whose identities are now part of a deeply public debate. If DL's claims prove true, it could mean they were placed in a royal narrative that wasn't entirely honest. That's no longer just a private matter. It's now a question of institutional integrity. Meghan and Harry once presented themselves as victims of royal mistreatment, but now some say they may have misled the public in a far more serious way. DL's legal team is preparing to submit official documentation, including contracts and delivery confirmations, which could strengthen her case even further. As questions grow and silence lingers, the public isn't just watching, they're demanding the truth, and this time, no amount of branding may be enough to control what happens next. So now the question isn't whether people are speculating, it's why those closest to the story are staying silent. A woman claims she carried both of Meghan and Harry's children. She says she has the documents, the medical records, even the willingness to take a DNA test. And yet, from the palace to Montecito, the response has been nothing. This isn't just about headlines. This isn't about gossip. This is about transparency, truth, and trust, and how far some are willing to go to protect a carefully shaped image. If DL's story holds up, we may be looking at a moment that reshapes royal history, not because of a scandal, but because of what was hidden for so long behind perfectly staged moments and scripted smiles. So now we turn to you. What do you believe? Do DL's claims sound credible? Is the silence from Meghan and Harry a smart legal move, or a sign that there's more truth here than anyone wants to admit? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because this story is far from over. The truth may be unfolding right in front of us, and the next chapter could change everything.